In the late 2000s, a Texan cardiologist hired an upholsterer to come in and reupholster the chairs in his waiting room. And what he learned from this experience, I think, perfectly exemplifies the lesson that I learned at a young age, if you will, in my journey here in cryptocurrency. And what I learned was what led me to the success that I've had in cryptocurrency. So if you'll entertain me, I'm going to tell you a story about anxiety, fear, and waiting. So Dr. Friedman, who is a cardiologist, hired this upholsterer to come in and reupholster the chairs in his waiting room because they'd been there for a while, just like any specialist of any kind of medical practice. He had his own office and he had his own waiting room, and people would wait for him to come in, or for a nurse to come and receive them. And he hired an upholsterer to come in and reupholster the chairs. And the upholsterer told Dr. Friedman before he did any work, "You've got to see this. I have never seen anything like this in my entire career." So the upholsterer brought Dr. Friedman out into the waiting room and he said, "Look at where the wear is on this chair. Instead of the wear on the chairs being in the back against the backrest, the wear on the chairs was on the edge. It was on the front of the seat." And the upholsterer said he'd never seen that because most people, they kick back and they lean back in a chair, but that wasn't the case. The main place of wear on these chairs was on the front. And they came to the conclusion that the reason for that was because as people were waiting on the cardiologist, they were sitting literally on the edge of their seat. I want to encourage you really quickly, if you're sitting in a chair, I'm sitting in a beanbag, so I can't really do it, but if you're sitting on a chair, sit as close to the edge of your seat as you possibly can for just a second and see what it feels like. See how long you would be able to maintain that pose. Would you be able to sit there for a week, a month, a year? It's not very comfortable, is it? If you're doing it, you'll know what I mean. Excuse me, I still have a bit of a cough. Maybe I should go see a cardiologist. Maybe it's my heart. I doubt it. The point that they realized is that as people were waiting for the cardiologist, they were probably feeling very anxious because they were worried about what the cardiologist would tell them because maybe their heart wasn't functioning correctly, so they would wait on the edge of their seat. And Dr. Friedman said a quote that I think really explains the whole point of this video. He said, "I wonder if people are anxious because they're at the cardiologist, or are they at the cardiologist because of their anxiety?" What's the point here? The position of our hearts and our souls and our minds and our bodies as we wait has a whole lot to do with how pleasant the wait is. As the philosopher Rascal Flatts once said, life is a highway, it's not necessarily a destination, because believe me, I've been on a lot of highways and I've gotten to a lot of destinations, and you probably experienced the same thing. You look back and you realize that 99% of the journey was the journey, and the final 1% was just kind of where you got the trophy to say that you've done it. How does this tie into cryptocurrency? Because in the title, I told you guys, this is how I became a millionaire in cryptocurrency. And here's the point of this entire video. In the same way that Dr. Friedman postulated that perhaps the people are at the cardiologist because of their anxiety, because of how they wait, I think a lot of damage will come to us as cryptocurrency traders and investors based on how we wait. What do I mean by that? I've been in cryptocurrency for 4.5 years. I've made 80% of the money I've ever made in cryptocurrency in the last 12 months. Seriously. I made in 10 days what I made in the first 2 years this year. Just so you know, that's what waiting looks like. The grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. I have watered the grass of cryptocurrency. I have not tried to water the grass of stock market and real estate. I had a CEO of a solopreneur come to my office and seek some advice and counsel from me about building a team because he's grown his personal business to a point where he wants to bring on another employee. And he told me, yeah, well, I'm thinking about doing this for another 12 months or so, and then I think I'm going to go into real estate. And I asked him, did you come here because you want to hear what you want to hear, or did you come here because you want genuine advice that you might not like? And he said the latter. Of course, I came here because I genuinely want to know what you think. I am a CEO who runs a company with 16 employees. I know a little bit about this. I don't claim to be a professional. Well, I am a professional. I don't claim to be an expert in this field, but I know a few things. So I told him, if you stop doing what you're doing right now, which you're clearly very talented at, you're being successful, and go to real estate, that will be the biggest mistake that you've made in a long time. And he said, why? And I said, because you were switching your focus halfway through. I almost did the same thing a year and a half into running this channel, guys. The channel had 12,000, 13,000 subscribers, and I thought, oh, you know what? This isn't working. I'm going to go start a Shopify store. I am so glad that all the Facebook ads I ran to Untold Wild, yeah, for real, I was bad at naming things back then just as I am today. I am so glad that I sucked at Facebook ads, because if I had made some money doing that and gotten, into the whole Shopify bug, this channel would not be here, because I would have changed my focus and I would have started watering the grass somewhere else. It takes time, guys. There is a type of Chinese bamboo, and you've probably seen videos of people talking about this online, There's a type of Chinese bamboo that you bury it in the ground and it's a seed and it grows zero for a couple of decades, but you have to water it and take care of it every single day. And then once it finally breaches the surface, it grows 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 feet tall in the span of just a month. And that's kind of what cryptocurrency is like. That's kind of what making money in crypto is like. It's kind of like watering a plot of soil that looks like there's nothing on it for years, maybe a decade. But if you do it with faith and you realize that you're waiting on something and you realize that it's not about the destination, but it is about the journey and it's about the person that you become as you were on that journey, then you'll really find what crypto is all about. It's not about becoming a crypto millionaire. It's about who you become in the process of making your millions in crypto. I believe in every single one of you. And the reason I do, even though I don't specifically know you, the reason I know that you can do this is because it's a formula. It's repeatable. It is a mathematical equation of how to make your money in crypto. It just is. You invest in your knowledge. You invest in your wisdom. You make the trades. You make the investments. You put the reps in. You work on your form. You do all of these things, and you will make money. It's a formula that hundreds of thousands, millions of people have followed, and you can too. So my Christmas present to you is just a little bit of encouragement. I just want you to know that if you've been in crypto for 6 months, if you've been in crypto for a year, you might need to be in it for another 6 months or another year before you see results. But just try and get 1% better every single day. And remember, sitting back in the chair and utilizing that backrest is a lot more comfortable, and you'll be able to wait a lot longer than if you're sitting on the edge of your seat and you're about to fall off. Think about how your heart is positioned. Do you want your millions tomorrow? It's probably not going to happen. You're going to get your hopes up and you're going to get them crushed. And the final thing I'll say is that I learned at an early age that I would much rather think that what I'm doing is going to be less enjoyable, that it's going to cost more than I think it's going to, that it's going to take longer than I think it's going to, that it's going to be harder than I think it's going to. I would much rather be pessimistic about how something is going to go than overly optimistic about how it's going to go, because no matter which one you do, you're going to be surprised. If you're overly pessimistic, you're going to be surprised in a good way. Say, oh, I think it's going to take 10 years to make $1 million in crypto, and it happens in 2, you're going to be surprised in a pleasant way. But if you're so caught up on thinking, I'm going to be a crypto millionaire in 6 months, I can tell you with about 95% certainty, if you're starting from zero, that's not going to happen. If you set that expectation, you're going to be unpleasantly surprised, and you're going to be much more tempted to quit when it doesn't work as quickly as you think it's going to. Even if it would have only taken 2 years, the positioning of your heart could be the thing that determines whether you stick through to the end. And you want to stick through to the end, because financial freedom is one of the most important tools in this sinful world that we have to achieve a purpose-driven life, which is our mission. We want to help you guys live a purpose-driven life. So I just encourage you to think about, over your break, how are you waiting? How are you waiting for what you want? You know what I want? I want a $1 billion company that tithes 10%, gives $100 million a year to ministry, and spreads the gospel all around the world. That's $277,000 a day. You know what we could do with that? You know how much I want that to be here right now? I promise you have no idea how much I want that to be here now. But I also realize that it's not about the destination. It's about the journey and how you got there and who you became while you were getting there and everything you did along the way. So ask yourself the question, how are you waiting? Merry Christmas, guys. We'll be back on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday. We might be back on Monday if the crypto market is going crazy. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you don't think I'm too prideful from the title. I just want to make sure you watch this one because I didn't want you to miss it. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate all the support. 2022 is going to be a great year. We have so many incredible things coming out that I cannot wait to show you, but that I cannot necessarily talk about yet either. So stay tuned. The next 3 months are going to be awesome. Peace.